Hello, hello, happy Monday. Welcome, welcome. So tonight, this evening, we're gonna read the Great Serpent Mound Book of Wonders and Mysteries, New Carbon Dates, Special Collector's Edition, 2013. And then in here it also says an eclectic guide to the Enigmatic Effigy and its Parkland, Collector's Edition, 2013. And it's by Ross Hamilton. And it was signed by the author. I went on summer solstice in 2014. So yeah, signed. So cool. All right. So let me get my glasses on and then let's learn something about it. And I got to pull up this focus thing because there's lots of pictures. I think we're okay still. I hope I'm still live. Where you at? There you. No. Oh, son of a gun. Oh, here you are. Okay. And back to this with this one too. Okay. So let me show you this picture of this book. See if we can get it without the glare. Pretty sweet, right? And then on the very first page, we've got a drawing of the Serpent Mound with a question mark. And then the next page is it says, when the size of Stonehenge with its two concentric rings is shown in scale to the size of the Serpent Mound, including the star patterns associated with the Great Serpent, Stonehenge covers the area of the Dipper part of the Little Dipper, Ursa Minor. So this is the Serpent Mound over Draco, situated between the Big and Little Dippers. Serpent Mound image based upon both the Romain and Peterson maps throughout. Cool. And then we've got our whole table of contents, but then we have another couple of pictures before I really get into some more reading. It's like the golden spiral almost. I mean, that's what it reminds me of. Then this is a baby hognose. Photo taken on the trail of Serpent Mound, autumn 2010 by naturalist Larry Henry. Ooh, that's cool, right? Okay, and is there a picture over here too? There are a couple here. Let me just show real quick. This is what we're going to be reading about here, and then I'm going to make myself not so blurry. And then that's just talking about the picture of the front. That's where we're starting. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty good. Hey, cool gamer. Hey, Pearl Jones, Delaney. And that way. Welcome, welcome. So, yeah, glasses, right? That's a good idea for the smaller print, which it is pretty small print. All right. Oh, let's open this up. And let's turn the... You stay. Boop. Okay. About the cover art. The Great Serpent is viewed by some as the central remnant of a series of great Manitos, Star Lodge effigies, dating from a remote period. This understanding envisions a civilization in North America surpassing in many respects the present one due to its harmonic balance between the earth and the sky. The ancient system adopted special fundamentals in architecture to ensure its balance and constancy, and its lodges were dictated to natural principles utilizing mathematic, geometric, and astronomical expression. The ethos of a people often coalesced with the name of an animate spirit, and so these ancient sites may have been the lodges of grandmother spider, turtle, owl, bear, etc. It was truly a golden age of architecture, for ancient Ohio is now held to have boasted an interrelated cosmological organization of eruditely conceived sites. Eruditely, I'll look that up in a second. Eruditely conceived sites with their crest jewel achievement being the sacred shrine of the serpent, giver of life. Okay. Oh, right at the beginning here. Eruditely. Erudity. I should put my finger on it. There's already, it's right in the middle here somewhere. There it is. Okay. Let's look it up. Eruditely. Erudition. Oh, the learning. Cool. All right. I'm getting an idea now. I think I've looked this up probably not that long ago either. ELY. With one hand. That was so slow. Okay. Having or showing knowledge that is gained by studying. Okay, but how do we say it? I like it when they give both. Pronunciation. Eruditely. Maybe.
Eruditely.
Okay.
Eruditely.
Okay, thank you. Cool. Okay, so learning. Organization of eruditely conceived sites with their crest jewel achievement being the sacred shrine of the serpent, giver of life. With its affiliated lodges counted, the remnants of this brilliant cosmography survived for many centuries under the careful watch of our native people, which is capitalized. However, in just a few decades, beginning in the early 19th century, nearly every mound and stonework became altered, defaced, or destroyed. Because the serpent survived, we now may begin to reconstruct a picture of what was once a literal paradise that, through a remarkable engineering, we are but in the early stages of grasping, literally conjoined heaven with the earth. One of the many wonders and mysteries of the Great Serpent Mound in Ohio is its enigmatic connection to the cube of Pythagoras, the first Greek philosopher. Hey, Little Wing, welcome in. Yeah. Right. Awesome. So, right. Okay. So, figure one, which we looked at just a second ago, which was that box with the matrix in it, and then the serpent mound. Figure one, the Greek philosopher Pythagoras is believed to have used the cube to demonstrate how the flat geometry of a hexagon may be interpreted in 3 dimensions with a simple thickening of certain lines. While the hexagon is discussed ahead, the Great Serpent may be seen as extending itself into all 3 dimensions of the cube: height, width, and depth, a phenomenon as yet unexplained, except that the arrangement within the cube is with fair accuracy represented upon the park topography itself. Serpent Mound image, this is in parentheses, this Serpent Mound image based upon William Romaine's 1987 map and Herbert Peterson's 1947 map. So I'll just flash that picture again real quick. Hey, Mr. Hugh. Hey, thank you. Thanks for being there too. Yeah. We made it through. So this is a picture of, I think, these people. Let's find out. The year of the serpent. New carbon dates have arrived. Let me show you a picture of these good old boys and lady. Oh, ladies. Okay. They look so cool, to be honest. They look so cool. Don't they just look like a good crew, right? They look like they're having a good old time. I like that. Down home. Okay. This is good. All right. The Year of the Serpent. New carbon dates have arrived. The Year of the Serpent is celebrated in Asia as a time of renewal and the restoration of virtue to body, mind, and soul. Similarly, Native American wisdom has always held the serpent as a harbinger of the mysteries of life. In the spirit of renewal regarding its very mysterious presence, archaeological concerns have recently collected a number of carbon samples from various parts of the serpent's form. Headed by Dr. William F. Romaine, standing on the right. Oh, okay. Cool. The Serpent Mound project began in autumn of 2011. Hand-picked members of his team included Dr. G. William Monahan of the Glenn Black Lab at Indiana University, right, bearded with short black sleeves, dude with a smile. All right. I mean, they're all, his is contagious though. Hey, Adams, welcome in. So good to see you. And Scorpio, awesome. Cool beans. Welcome everyone. This is interesting reads, right? Dr. Jared Burks of the Ohio Valley Archaeology Inc. Incorporated left, smiling in foreground. Okay, all right. Paleobotanist Karen Leone next to Burks, soil analyst and lithic expert Al Tanetti, dark baseball cap, were also present among the technical experts. Jeffrey Wilson, left backmost. Okay. Hey, this is actually the Serpent Mound. I've been here. I recognize this place. I mean, of course it is, right? I'm such an idiot. I think I ate lunch there once. Okay. Where am I? Oh, experts. Jeffrey Wilson, left backmost, representing the Friends of Serpent Mound, was present as well to lend a hand. So Friends of Serpent Mound, I think, is like they're the group that helps take care of Serpent Mound. I don't know. I'm not sure. The last time I talked to them on the phone, like it didn't sound like they were having much control compared to what was happening with the government or something. It made me feel it made me feel kind of pissed, actually. Okay. Even thinking conservatively, the result of the Serpent Mound project may become nothing short of a paradigm shift in Ohio Valley antiquities studies. The carbon evidence discovered through respectful and minimally invasive core sampling all suggest the middle to late Adena period, approximately between 300 and 400 years BCE, i.e. 2,300 and 2,400 years ago. How nice that they gave that to us. That's so awesome. It has been believed that the serpent was constructed by the Fort Ancient culture, all capitalized, around 1070 CE or AD, making it the youngest of the Ohio Valley earthworks. Now, in a complete reversal of fortune, the Great Serpent is likely the oldest among the scores of non-burial works of the Ohio Valley. Look for their book soon entitled Serpent Mound Revealed, Context, Archaeology, and Meaning. Ooh, cool. I might go look for that. Okay, so 2013, a year for new beginnings. It is now time for a destructive order to be reversed. And it is well to inform other races that the Aboriginal cultures of North America were not devoid of beauty. Furthermore, in denying the Indian his ancestral rights and heritages, the white race is but robbing itself. America can be revived, rejuvenated, by recognizing a native school of thought. And that is all in italics. It says Luther Standing Bear, Lakota, circa 1915. That original school of thought spoken of by Luther Standing Bear seems to have been scattered all across the Americas from an antique period. Now, as though it is beginning to reconvene, the Serpent Mound Park is serving as a center of reorientation to the sacred principles of the indigenous wisdom. For example, several notable Mayan elders have visited of late. In autumn of 2011, a remarkable crowd of about 2,000 people showed up to participate in the gathering sponsored by followers of Hunbatsmen, Mesoamerican elder and advocate of Mayanism. He, along with many others, have voiced the impression that the Great Serpent served as a departure point for their ancestors very long ago. In whatever way this interprets, the serpent is considered by many to have been at the cradle of a North American civilization in a remotely antique period. It is from the olden Mayan mathematicians that the approximate date of 2013 CE has been isolated. It represented the first full year for a new count of celestial time. Because of their renowned system of mathematics and astronomy, the accuracy of this date has received little challenge from the academic community. It is embraced by such as the noted archaeoastronomer Anthony Aveny, among others. Focusing on the winter solstice, December 21st of 2012, most people see the date not just as the starting moment of a new precessionary cycle of 25,920 years approximately, but a time for renewing the earth and celebrating the forgotten accomplishments of the ancient worldview. And then we have figure 1.1. The October 29th, 2011 event drew at least 2,000 people to the park, leaving late arrivers to park their cars on the McKinsey property adjacent to the park, as well as the sides of the road near the entrance to the park. Only the countercultural Harmonic Convergence event in 1987 could rival the turnout. Photo courtesy of Delcy Wilson, Friends of Serpent Mound. I've been there like that. Oh my gosh, right? Oh my gosh, it's so cool to recognize this stuff. Yeah, and if all works out, I will be going there again this weekend. It hinges on the Denali at this point. So one way or the other, we shall see. Boop. Okay. This little book is, let me get this back here. It's true. On the way to the Serpent Mound, I visited other mounds in Ohio. Wow, it's cool. Okay, so this little book is an outgrowth of a need to provide an alternative presentation of the Great Serpent Mound's illustrated mysteries for the public. Because of misunderstandings stemming from post-colonial history, many scholars have viewed the Great Serpent and other ancient works as substantively primitive in comparison to the architectural achievements of the present era. However, in light of advancements in reliable science, new findings in disciplines formerly considered of marginal importance have collectively framed the familiar earthwork in an entirely new light that has both intrigued and astonished even the very knowledgeable. This book is a humble attempt to examine the astonishing phenomena of the Great Serpent and its park from social, scientific, and even mystical points of view to begin to understand why the ancients may have placed it at the core of their belief system. The Great Serpent Mound is more than a simple earthwork invented by a people whose purported technological ineptitude has long assigned them an inferior position to the more highly esteemed, architecturally adept cultures of the ancient world. Many of the earthworks should be of exceptional interest in that between our great Manitou and its constituent sites, most of which are now long gone, the insoluble division between heaven and earth was by the evidence regularly dissolved through a natural science incomprehensible today. This high art form involved the attraction and conversion of lightning into a powerful force of life and growth so effective as to leave man literally wanting for nothing. Ironically, we gave this name to one of the inheritors of this now Parkland, the Adena people, i.e., they who require nothing. Man, this is juicy! Oh my gosh, this is so juicy. I love it. A note on the Adena people. The Serpent Mound Park is an established Adena burial ground, although there is much evidence to suggest that the Adena were relative latecomers to the site. Evidence for pre-Adena, archaic culture, people also was discovered within the present-day park premises. Yeah, they talked about that over like the dip. There's like this edge and there's kind of like a valley behind there. And they found all kinds of stuff back there. Oh my gosh, right? Special rocks, special kinds of rocks and special kinds of things. Like egg rocks. Okay. Adena scholars William Webb and Charles Snow stated that the Adena folk had a unique skeletal series among all other Aboriginal races known. According to Don Dragu of the Carnegie Museum in Pittsburgh, the Adena people had a large cranial capacity. Many of the males were commonly 6 feet in height, with some individuals standing 7 feet tall, or considerably more, with no sign of giantism, which is this word that I'm struggling over. Acromegaly. 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 Well, shouldn't we learn how to say that weird word? Giantism? The Nephilim? I want to know how to say it. And plus, it's italicized. I can see it really fast. Acromegaly. Megaly. Acromegaly. Pronunciation. Acromegaly. Acromegaly. Cool. Acromegalithic. Acromegaly. Giantism. Cool. The pituitary gland condition that often takes the life before age 37. Oh gosh, not what I'm thinking of. Thank you, Adam's Patch. It wasn't just the men that were... Oh, man. Dang, I feel like a douchebag for enjoying saying that word so much. Seriously. Oh, no. Okay. It wasn't just the men that were exceptionally tall. For the remains of women, such as found at Fudge Mound in Indiana and in Highland County, Ohio, also indicated the stature of 7 feet. The physical remains of the Adena folk of the Ohio Valley go back as early as 3,200 years ago. According carbon dating, maybe according to, or maybe that is, according carbon dating performed by Webb and Snow out of the University of Kentucky. Unfortunately, the remains of archaic culture burials have been lost because after performing their excavations in the 1880s, representatives of Harvard University did not bother to preserve or even properly analyze those remains. Because of their excellent dental condition, large orbits, eye sockets, jaw and mandible structure, long legs, and marked eminences for the attachment of tendons. Eminences, yeah. The Adena distinguished themselves as unique among the ancient lineages of our native people. Right? It does make me think of the Nephilim, though. Today, archaeology is attempting to merge the Adena and later Hopewell cultures together for reasons other than their physical anthropology. Although their race is extinct now, quite possibly related, quite possibly realted, realted to them, Realted, quite possibly realted to them. Okay, well, let's look it up. Realted. No, not related. Is that what it says? Am I just not seeing it right? Oh crap. Today. Oh no. Other reasons. That their race is extinct now. Hopeful cultures for the reasons other than their physical anthropology. Although their race is extinct now, quite possibly. It's got to be related, right? That's what they mean. Quite possibly related to them. Yeah. It's just spelled wrong. Okay. Oh, the literally. Okay. Related. Quite possibly related to them are older Cherokee genetic lines. The lost Susquehanna River Valley Nation, as well as the Osage people. Wow, I'm Cherokee. There's tales of Cherokee princess in my history, but we can't prove it, right? They're just stories. That there was a race of very tall men and women in the Ohio Valley is a strangely obscured fact of 19th century archaeology, at which time hundreds of ordinarily large skeletons were reported unearthed throughout the region. Now these remains, as so much of the evidence for an entirely organic civilization, have utterly gone missing. In the universities, the subject of exceptionally tall stature and physical beauty among the ancient stock of the Ohio Valley and contagious states is generally known. So this is figure 1.2. Skeleton of mound builder, 7 foot in length, Serpent Mound, Peebles, Ohio. Boop. Okay. It says top. Sketch of skeletal remains found near Serpent Mound in Serpent Mound Park from Frederick Putnam's 1889 Century Magazine article. Bottom. The skeletal remains of an Adena male are shown here on an old picture postcard which was uncovered by archaeo investigator Jeff Wilson. This is the only known photograph in existence today of one of the great Adena who stood in life at least 7 feet tall. Strange to relate, however, this individual, as measured in the grave, may have stood in excess of 7 feet, for the skeleton's tibia, fibula, and feet are removed from both legs. Ooh, excuse me. Were the Adena simply preservers of the serpent effigy, carefully reconstructing it from a remnant outline left by their archaic period and antecedents? Or did they actually originate its design? The Serpent Mound project has sparked a complete rethinking of the role of the Serpent Mound. Now that the effigy may be understood as the oldest of works, what inspired its original plan? In the following pages of this year's edition of Wonders and Mysteries, many suggestions are put forth to open the door of possibilities as to the intent of the original designers. It would seem, at least from a philosophical perspective, that our Great Serpent was conceived as a central shrine embodying in its architecture many disciplines from not a few schools of thought, ancient and modern. Okay, so this is a picture of the thing, Ohio Historical Marker, which is there at the park, which says Serpent Mound, one of North America's most spectacular effigy mounds. Serpent Mound is a gigantic earthen sculpture representative of a snake, built on the spur of rock overlooking Ohio Brush Creek around 1000 AD by the Fort Ancient culture. The earthwork was likely a place of ceremonies dedicated to a powerful serpent spirit. The site is located on the edge of a massive crater, possibly formed by the impact of a small asteroid around 300 million years ago. Frederick Ward Putnam studied Serpent Mound between 1886 and 1889. Due largely to his efforts, Serpent Mound became the first privately funded archaeological preserve in the United States. And this says the Ohio Bicentennial Commission, the Ohio Historical Society, 2003. I'll show you what it looks like. Ohio Buckeyes. Is that what that is? Okay. Okay, so not a sign of the times, question mark? That's how this is headed. Hey, Thomas Lee, welcome in. Yeah. So cool, right? Dude, right? Oh, that's so awesome. Thomas Lee just said, the mound sits on the edge of a meteorite impact crater, and there are high levels of cobalt, chromium, and other elements associated with meteors. It's also an oasis for seasonal bird migrations. Thank you for sharing that. So, not a sign of the times? This familiar, costly brass sign, set in place a number of years ago, 2003, was part of the Ohio Historical Marker Program. It greets thousands of visitors to the park year in, year out, being located just off the park lot as one approaches the park interior. For the many who take the time to read or photograph it, the information provided seems on the surface to be official and settled, stating unequivocally that the Serpent Mound is about 1,000 years old and was built by the Fort Ancient culture. Hey, yeah, actually, when I read that Fort Ancient culture thing, I had some flags going up. In light of the new carbon dates, see above, and on behalf of the many archaeologists, Native Americans, and uncounted others who have voiced their regret at the placement of this sign from the beginning, a simple request is proffered to whom it may concern. This very year, please remove this sign. As a thoughtful gesture, then kindly replace it with another as soon as possible so that all visitors to this parkland may be properly informed in the wake of many thousands of work hours and dollars privately expended to determine the serpent as a probable Adena culture construct, and a great mystery at that. On behalf of all friends and admirers of Ohio Great Serpent Mound, thank you. And that was all like in caps, or not caps, but in bold. Okay, we've got a lot of cool pictures here of the Serpent Mound. Ephraim Squire and Edwin Davies, 1848. I wonder if I'll be able to read these while this is, I hope I can. Let's try. Okay, yeah. Ephraim Squire and Edwin Davies, 1848. J.P. McLean, American Antiquarian, 1885. Then we have Ephraim Squire, 1851. Peabody Museum Sketch. What does that say? 1887. William Pigeon, 1883. Cyrus Thomas, 1880s, after D.H. Holmes. Then Ella Emerson, 1884. And then Charles Willoughby, American anthropologist, 1919. Interesting. And then on this page, we have a little map, which is pretty tiny, but the Serpent Mound is right there. Sketch map of Serpent Mound Park, Adams County, Ohio. Okay, so let's read that. Cool. Serpent Mound maps. Opposite, these 8 maps of Serpent Mound dating from the past show a diversity of interpretation from the artist's point of view. From the left column down, we see Squire and Davis, 1848. Ephraim Squire, 1851, William Pigeon, 1883, and Ella Emerson, 1884. From the right column down, so this is all the people that I just listed on. Okay, so right archaeologist Frederick Ward Putnam's sketch map of Serpent Mound Park after he created it in the late 1880s, showing the serpent effigy, locations of native burials, both mound and subsurface, the road leading into the park, and Bush Creek along the western cliffs. Right? How did they get those vantage points? Maybe through dreams. Through, and then when they made them from the stars, maybe. Serpent Mound maps. The Great Serpent Mound of Adams County, Ohio, is full of mysteries for a number of reasons, and is full of wonders linked closely with those mysteries. This book may exhibit many of the serpent's enigmas and secret beauties, and yet does not explain the great riddle of what inspired its design, and the true reason behind its first construction. Over the years, since the European immigration has taken over the lands of the native people by force and artifice, there have been many efforts to create a map of the 3-part serpent earthwork. However, as though under an ill omen, most of these attempts were made before the first truly accurate mapping in the 20th century, and by then the mound had been reconstructed in accord with its perceived underlayer of clay and boulder stone. The gentlemen explorers, Ephraim Squire and Edwin H. Davis, published the first known map of the Great Serpent Mound in 1848 for the newly created Smithsonian Museum. It shows a compass line that inaccurately depicts true north. Because Squire and Davis visited many earthwork sites in a relatively short time, the lack of attention to accurate detail is explicable for the Serpent Mound and other sites such as Newark Circle and Octagon. In fact, recent research has indicated that Serpent Mound's design may be coeval with the Newark site, a finding discussed more in the publication Star Mounds, Legacy of a Native American Mystery. Wait, so coeval, C-O-E-V-A-L. Let's find out. Does it mean like, let's find out. Coeval. C-O-E-V-A-L. Oh, gotta get my C-O-V-E-A-L. Meaning having the same age or date of origin. Contemporary.
Coeval.
Coeval. Cool. Having the same age or date of origin. Contemporary. A person of roughly the same age as oneself. A contemporary. Coeval.
Coeval.
All right. I had just seen it again. Here it is. Design may be coeval with the Newark site, a finding discussed more in the publication Star Mounds, Legacy of a Native American Mystery. Wow, okay. Among the mappings that have been made of the effigy over the course of the last 163 years. All show clearly the three undulations of the body forming its famous seven coils. Several years ago, I had the pleasure of speaking with Mr. Herbert Peterson, a Washington, D.C. resident, regarding the new obscure map he commissioned and assisted in surveying in 1947 by the then county engineer, who happened to be a family relative. Mr. Peterson had grown up in Adams County, not far from the Serpent Mound, and it had been his desire from boyhood to map the three parts of the work when he had the knowledge and wherewithal. Ooh, this is a sweet looking picture. Some sort of or LiDAR image courtesy of Wilson LiDAR Collection. Insert courtesy Timothy A. Price and Nicole I. Price. Source Wikipedia. For video exploring the LiDAR from various angles, see Dr. William F. Romaine's online posting at http. Shit, what is it? What is the two dots called? Is that a it's not a colon, is it? Is it a colon? Balls. The dot /vimeo.com/9263341. I wonder if that's still up. But let me show you this picture. Is it like a heat signature? Were brought to bear on the Serpent Mound Park. Okay, the latest map. Well, can we see it while I read this? Yeah. The latest map technologies were brought to bear on the Serpent Mound Park just a few years ago. The larger picture is a light detection and ranging image, LiDAR. Light detection and ranging image. Cool. Excuse me. Oh, excuse me. Okay, so yeah, that's a little bit more difficult for me to read like that. I'm going to pull that back down. And then we'll just get to the pictures on the other page when we get there. Okay, so the latest map technologies were brought to bear on the Serpent Mound Park just a few years ago. The larger picture is a light detection and ranging image, LiDAR, produced by the Ohio Department of Transportation in a broad survey of Ohio highways and roads. Jefferson Wilson first performed the use of LiDAR in Ohio for archaeological studies. In this survey, modeled by Wilson, undergrowth, trees, and buildings have been removed, revealing the actual surface of the park property, unrealized before. Due to the faculty of LiDAR technology to detect minute differences in surface height, it is now being used by archaeological concerns whenever possible. And many formerly obliterated or overlooked features have been accounted for in many ancient sites throughout Ohio. In the left lower corner, in the lower left, a computer image of the effigy lands some area of the sheer height of the western cliffs, complementing the serpent, sculpting as it overlooks Ohio River tributary Brush Creek. Over time, many visitors to the park have commented that the promontory the Serpent Mound rests upon seems shaped intentionally to serve as a Titan plinth for the Great Effigy. Right? Other ancient sites suspected or proven to have a similar pedestaling, damn it. Pedestaling? But oh no. Similar pedestaling include nearby Fort Hill. Oh, pedestaling. Okay, got it. Pedestaling. Include nearby Fort Hill, Fort Ancient, and the little-known Butler County Fort. Wow, that was difficult for me. DKs, welcome in, man. Awesome to see you, dude. Hey, Sass, welcome in too. Sweet. So, figure 2.2, Herbert Peterson's 1947 map of the Great Serpent was the first to attempt an accurate topographical survey. In addition, Peterson created a number of paperweights cast in metal displaying the earthwork in a three-dimensional setting. Cool. Let me show you that. And then there's this one down here, which I'll get to reading about too. A countercultural icon. Okay. So Peterson's map is one among only a few that seems to have captured the way the mound actually appears today, showing clearly how the land somewhat dramatically descends on either side of the earthwork. Interestingly, his north-south line, depicted on the lower left part of the survey drawing, is inaccurate, as was Squire and Davis over 100 years before him. The reason for the inaccuracy are obvious even today, as a good compass may render readings absurdly off the mark. Other ancient sites around the globe may report unusual magnetic readings, but the Serpent Mound and its park are exceptional in this regard. Perhaps this is due in part to a persistent belief among native and non-native people that the ancestors not only knew of powerful earth energies at play here, but intentionally designed the serpent's body to make use of those energies. And then this countercultural icon. A study of Serpent Mound maps would be incomplete without admitting such as this. The presence of the counterculture has been a growing phenomena at the Serpent Mound Park over the last 25 years and is expected to continue growing. People from various religious backgrounds, philosophies, income status, political affiliation, young and old alike, have expressed their wonder and admiration for the Great Serpent in terms outside the conventions of general description and speech. Often we hear and see Native American terms resorted to or in some way modified to meet the expressions of the counterculture. And in this way, a new language of meaning is emerging from such places as our own Great Serpent's Lodge, nestled amidst the hills and waterways of Adams County, Ohio. So dang, man, this is some really tiny print. I don't know if Shaman Spirit, which is the tail, from the Ethes, we were born, nature manifesting light, gas, liquid, and solid, the Milky Way, journey of soul memory. 2. Mother Earth, point beneath the feet, grounding and connecting to Mother Earth energies. 3. Root, shelter, survival, life, and death choices. 4. Navel, creativity, self-esteem, power, sexual self. 5. Solar plexus, instinct, empath, connection. 6. Heart, emotion, love, compassion. Oh my gosh. Code. Oh my gosh. Okay. 7. Throat, wisdom, truth, communication. 8. Third eye, intuition, spiritual guidance, divine inspiration. 9. Brain base, race and DNA memory. 10. Right gill, male priest, spiritual warrior, action, protection, weather ceremony. Left gill, 12. Female priestess, nurturing, plant spirit medicine, building community, and birthing new ideas. Oh, I forgot 11. 11 was great spirit, finding and working with the divinity within, oneness with all that is. And then 12 was the left gill, female priestess. Then where's 13? 13, the crown, altar of the dragon keeper, connecting with the celestials, angels, BWL, and masters for the highest good of all relations. And then 14, triangle, balance point of creation and transformation. Holy amazing. I can't believe they don't show that bigger. I have 2.5 magnification on right now. Evolution positions on the Great Serpent Mounds for ourselves and the planet. The magnetic and gravitational anomalies at Serpent Mound make for lively discussion among archaeologists and earthwork aficionados. The one thing that is agreed upon is that they are yet unidentified, massive interruptions to the normal magnetic flow in and around the area of the Parkland. Wow. You guys, there's pictures on every page, I think. It's awesome. So the true north alignment, that was that first picture I showed you, but here's a different one that's similar. One of the first pictures Boop. Then this next page is an eye for the serpent, the egg. Oh, hey, and then look at that. An ancient Orphic egg described in the mysteries as containing man with the serpent as logos, the divine evolutionary power. Damn, Bean. Okay, let's read. Plus, I'm probably going to have to take a potty break soon. I don't know. I just keep having to pee like every hour today. It's crazy. I mean, well, I guess, I mean, like, I am fasting today, but okay. Full moon tomorrow, everyone. So this is most notable features of the serpent. True north alignment. Dr. William F. Romain's remarkable discovery of two specific correlation points upon the body of the serpent mound demonstrates that a line drawn from the tip of the coiling tail of the effigy to the apex of the hollow triangle features points to the present pole star, Polaris. This north-south line created a clarifying moment in the history of the site because for over 150 years, magnetic compasses were inadequate to determine true north and therefore any other possible horizon alignments with sun or moon. The discovery was once downplayed by an archaeologist who criticized anonymously that there were no points on the form of the effigy to make such a claim. But upon close examination, the critic failed to prove his point. Dudes. So true north orientation. It was not until Ohio archaeoastronomer and anthropologist Dr. William F. Romain applied scientific technical insights into his own 1987 survey of the Great Serpent that the idea of using astronomical sighting to find true north came into application. Once true north was established, other possible astronomical verities appeared, making this find one of the indisputably great discoveries of the 20th century. Concealed for 150 years because compasses gave badly skewed readings. See maps above. We'd already looked, yeah. A new day dawned for philosophy and science. So began an era of discovery for an ancient site that had for too long gone unappreciated in a comparison to other world-renowned sacred locales. More on that true north line is featured ahead in the geometries. The Seven Coils. Perhaps the most noted feature of the Great Serpent is the fact of its possessing 7 distinct coils, apparent through 3 loops. There has been much speculation on these coils and their placement, and so there are many ways of looking at their curvatures, depending on the observer's mindset. Many believe that the coils are sufficiently large so that they might accommodate a number of horizon-based alignments with sun and moon, as discussed ahead. The head and great oval. Many theories have been aired regarding what the serpentine effigy is in the act of doing. From what position on land or in the air should one place oneself to have the best vantage point to make an interpretation? First archaeologist at the site, Frederick Putnam, voiced his own idea, illustrated in figure 2.5. In reverse, with an artificial eye added for greater clarity. Instead of showing its left side, as Putnam suggests, this version shows the right side of the manito with the lower jaw the longer due to a possible distension culminating as the small triangular feature on the extreme right. So that's this one. Oh, is it 2.5? Yeah, that is figure 2.5. Speculation as to, down here it says, an eye for the serpent. Were we to observe the serpent effigy as though from the north, add an artificial eye, exaggerated for emphasis, the hollow triangular feature may be seen as a gill, with the side projections appearing as pectoral fins. Native legend suggests the serpent rose up to take the sun, assigning the great serpent a celestial identity. As shown ahead, certain fixed stars may be seen as adorning the manito, relating its design as among the most meaningful of prehistory. So yeah, here's that picture again from afar. You can see the fins. So speculation as to what the oval earthwork feature was intended to display is an enduring mystery. The serpent seems by some as attacking, swallowing, or expelling something. It is nearly 124 feet in length and more than half that in width. It is not a true ellipse by modern geometric definition. Rather, it may have been formed using certain stars as shown ahead. Because it is a hollow oval, some speculate that it may have once served as a throne or platform for a large egg-like creation, possibly represented as a sun disk, such as can be seen in ancient Egyptian art. And there's the snake and the egg picture, the ancient Orphic egg described in the mysteries as containing man, with the serpent as logos, the divine evolutionary power. And then we've got the small triangular mound. Oh yeah, the other little mound. That's represented right here, like a little arrow. Figure 2.7 to the left, the small triangular feature at the western end of the oval could be seen as a distended lower jaw, unhinged by the creature. See explanation above. It is theorized to be indicated a specific point on the elliptic plane. Some native people believe that totemic altar resembling a great horn once stood on the spot, holding up to the sky the brilliant Cherokee Uluntsuti, maybe, a crystal putting out a light so intense as to pale the light of the noonday sun in comparison. Modern theorists suggest that such a crystal served as a lamp fueled by a strong focus of positive earth telluric current in convergence with the negative electrons of clouds and thunderheads, a phenomenon occurring naturally even today in the form of lightning strikes on the promontory. The thing? Promontory. Isn't that the thing they were talking about that it was on? Like the... Well, let's just look that up. Anyways, the last time I read it, I seemed to understand it. Coeval. Promontory.
Promontory.
Promontory. A point of high land. Yeah, promontory it is. It's the jet. Okay. highland that juts out into a large body of water, a headland, a rocky promontory.
Promontory.
Promontory, cool. So, promontory, where is that promontory word? Right there. The form of lightning strikes on the promontory. Such a masterful technology, lost today, stems from a period remembered in native mythology when the Thunderbirds, heavenly agents of lightning, were compelled to seek out the Great Serpent, harbinger of the power invested in Mother Earth. It is conceivable that Serpent Mound was a powerfully influential lightning temple and shrine that conferiated the twin electrical energies of nature through the ancient medicine stones of the Ulunsuti to promote the healing and fertilizing of the lands. Indian legend concurs that an elite medicine society once dominated the eastern North American region before falling into corruptions of ritual sacrifice practices, degrading it from its once high spiritual standards. So we've got a little picture here of the spiral tail. I'm not going to zoom in for that. It's pretty explanatory. The spiral tail, figure 2.8 to the right. The spiraling tail rests on one of the two highest points of the effigy. It is over 80 feet across its longest axis, and yet is less than a hand high at its tip. The spiral demonstrates the mathematical principle of phi. Shit, we've looked that up before. The golden mean. Phi. Phi, I think phi. Nearly as perfectly as in snail and seashells, creating speculation that an advanced appreciation for arithmetic and geometric proportion possessed the designer. The coiling tail is one of the more popular features of the Great Effigy, and we are somewhat indebted to Mother Nature that it still exists. Visitors who prefer the western portion of the promenade at the tail will notice a strong retaining wall over 7 feet in height supporting the land the tail rests upon. That support wall was deemed necessary when a very large portion of the hillside slipped away toward the Bush Creek in the last century. It is reported that a consulting geologist for the project of building the retaining wall believed that no further erosion of the hillside should occur in that area of the park in the foreseeable future. The effigy's mysterious origin and present appearance. In theory, several native groups could have made the effort to build or patch up the serpent earthwork, possibly for 5,000 years or more, making it the oldest and the youngest, the first and last among the works of the Ohio Valley. Today, the serpent is a great mystery for earthwork aficionados and their colleagues, the earthwork junkies. It is a real riddle because no one knows if the earthwork we see today is the original architecture on the bluff. If so, it was conceived just in earth, clay, and stone, or as is suggested by native legend. Do we see the remnant of a pedestal over which a grand Manitou was once laid? If the present mound is what remains of a plinth structure, then what happened to the original effigy? Native legend also mentions that when the Manitou was yet living, it flowed with sparks like fire. Later, when rendered inactive, its scales were carried off as holy relics and used as medicine, leaving few traces of its former appearance. So did the Adena culture take it upon itself to begin restoration of the serpent using earth and stone, subsequently training the incoming Hopewell culture to continue doing the same throughout Ohio Valley and to other sites depleted of their foundations? Okay, I'm going to pause and try and cough for a second here. All right. In the late 1800s, Frederick Putnam of Harvard's Peabody's Museum refurbished the effigy. Although he used a scientific method, his was unfortunately a fledgling science, which undertaking at best paved the way for later, more responsible and respectful archaeological excavations in the United States. From going over his writings, Putnam acquired the work with its base stone and clay structure intact and covered by tons of topsoil that Putnam refers to as vegetable mold. Looking at looking at the old Squire and Davis map, the effigy was apparently blanketed by a snow of accumulated topsoil, making it appear worn down. Putnam's work was an attempt to redefine and distinguish the effigy. His idea was to work according to his base clay and stone skeletal underpinning. In the course of his undertaking this process, he threw up the surrounding topsoil over the carefully determined understructure, giving us the work as it appears today, including the triangular and tail features at opposing ends to the effigy. One very positive thing we know is that after Putnam's reconstruction, then 39-year-old archaeologist William F. Romaine was able to determine a perfectly true north-south line by two of the features, as shown in figure 2.4. Since Putnam was unable or unwilling to locate true north, it makes sense that his reconstruction points out his method was valid because compasses, as noted above, give incorrect readings on site. Although it took an entire century, and the fact that the two men never met, the Putnam-Romaine collaboration is regarded as an important fact of the Serpent Mound's known history. More on the importance of the north-south line is illustrated ahead. Minimally invasive to pervasive the form. Oh, no. Minimally invasive to preserve the form. Putnam cut narrow trench excavations laterally across the width of the earthwork. These trenches hoped to uncover the effigy's structural secrets as well as any possible artifacts determining the identity of the builders. He found no artifacts, but did describe the earthwork's unique construction as having possessed an engineering sound enough to pass the test of time. Figure 2.9, Frederick Ward Putnam. There's his picture, and then here's a picture of the cross-section of the soil. Putnam. And then the cross-section of the soil. Okay. Putnam found that about a foot of topsoil had precipitated over the lifetime of the effigy. He asked the question of how long it takes for that much new earth to accumulate, with the thought of being able to date the work in this fashion. Since modern dating techniques were not available at the time, Putnam suggested that the serpent was from about the same era, as the Adena people's remains found in the large burial mound located at this site. As noted above, these people lived in the greater Ohio Valley beginning about 3,000 years ago. In accord with native legend, the Allegheny people preceded them. Carbon evidence found in a base level of Serpent Mound dated to more than 2,900 years ago in a project supervised by the Ohio Historical Society. And then this figure 2.10, the one that I showed you of the soil, I think, is a colorized cross-section of the oval mound as submitted by Frederick Ward Putnam in his 1889 Century Magazine article on the Serpent Mound. Alternating layers of organic and inorganic material may have been part of the builder's plan. Such an arrangement may aid in the collection of electrical charge as discussed ahead. This is so cool. I have to go to the bathroom. I wonder if this is all just like, yeah, I think each one is its own little chapter. Okay, so this next page, you know what? Do I call it or do I just go to the bathroom and come back? I think I'm going to pee. I'll be right back, and then I'm just going to read a little bit more. Okay. I'll be right back. Let me just slip myself out real quick. Oh, shit. Okay, much better. All right. So here's this cool picture. Draconis Alpha, Romaine Polaris line. Polaris is over here on the outside of the circle. And then Draconis Alpha line. Interesting. Okay, let's show you. Cool. And this next page shows a bunch of different like star Draco depictions and things like that. Can we see that first one at all? There we go. Okay. All right. A worthy point that validates Putnam's reconstruction as representative of the serpent's original design comes from native legend. Cherokee mythology states that the heart of the serpent Manitou was beneath the seventh coil. Taking the ancient Polestar, Thubin, Draconis Alpha, as the heart center of the night sky, we see how it is also placed at the geographic center of the effigy. Further corroboration, Putnam Romane's Polaris alignment between the back of the head and the tail is shown within the Thubin cycle. Also, a line drawn from the representation of Thubin, the Polestar, 5,000 years ago by approximation, beneath the seventh coil from the tail seems to touch on the western edges of two coils, parallel to Romane's Polaris true north line. So figure 3, after the discovery of the star pattern in the 1990s, and by the specific placement of that pattern over Putnam's refurbishment as mapped by William F. Romaine in 1987, the accuracy of Putnam's theory of shape is clear. A large asterism of the constellation Draconis corresponds to the margins of the effigy map, through which information Putnam's reconstruction may be viewed as reliable. As a point of astronomical and chronological interest, the distance between the two pole stars, i.e., the center and edge of the Thubin circle, is very approximately 13 Baktun, Baktun, the count of Mayan time measuring 5,120 years. So these star pictures, the serpent with its great designations demonstrates the accuracy with which in ancient native societies great totemic 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 lodges may have been planned. Serpent Mound is one of the last remaining parts of a system of art and science that, at its cultural flourish, may have resonated with other astronomically adept cultures all across the globe. The stars assigned to the Great Serpent's shape are the same as those designated to the constellation Draco throughout ancient Europe, as well as the Middle and Far Eastern world. The astronomy of the sky. In the Ohio Valley, there are a small number of surviving earthworks and burial places, once estimated in the many, many thousands in the post-Revolutionary War period of pioneering and the banishment of native people. One of these few places yet preserved is the Fort Ancient Earthworks, an impressive wall of earth and stone manufactured by the Earth through Middle Hopewell culture period, possibly strongly influenced by an exciting Adena culture. It claims an entire section near the visitor's entrance devoted to the careful marking of a modest array of solar event sightlines using the mounds there. The basic timeline, as determined by carbon dating performed through the extensive researches of Dr. Robert Connolly on site in the 1980s, is about 100 BCE or earlier for Fort Ancient. Well over 1,000 years after this date, a group of people thought to have branched off from a generalized Mississippian culture immigrated to the Ohio Valley. Here, overlooking the Little Miami River, they discovered this already ancient Hopewell structure and lived within its ramparts for some time. Archaeologists, arriving nearly 1,000 years later, still named the site Fort Ancient because it seemed to resemble a stronghold for defense to their then limited reference and reasoning. Subsequently, when artifacts belonging to the Mississippian folk were discovered at the Fort Ancient site, the Mississippians were referenced with the name Fort Ancient people. Thus was born an impasse in term comprehension that lingers to this day for the average lay person. The Fort Ancient Indians did not erect Fort Ancient. Okay, we're going to make 22. This last little bit up here. Our last page. Figure 3.2. The Fort Ancient Earthworks in southern Ohio are shown adjacent to the Little Miami River running along its western lower elevation. Fort Ancient is believed to have been created by the very early Hopewell culture, a possibly Algonquin language-related people, over 1,000 years before the so-called Fort Ancient culture arrived there. The earthwork follows with exceptional accuracy and the constellation Scorpius. Let me show you some pictures. Oh my gosh, I'm sweating pretty hardcore up in here. And then we've got these. The Thubin Polestar and its radius. The understanding of a star-based design for the Great Serpent, as well as many other non-burial earth and stone works of the greater Ohio Valley, has been the last of 4 specific contributions to the possible archaeoastronomical data for the site. The star pattern was uncovered along 12 or more other possible astronomical alignments, fusing into the earthwork, including the true north alignment, lunar alignments, and solar alignments pictured ahead. Because the various alignments were proposed by separate and minimally cooperative research efforts, there is no academic consensus for the site's astronomy at the time. It would seem that about 5,000 years ago, the design for the Great Serpent Mound followed a very careful study of the constellation Draconis. This constellation was then highest in the sky and remains permanently within the unusual circle surrounding what astronomers term the northern ecliptic pole. And then I'll just explain what this figure was that we looked at, and then we'll do some reading about it next time I go live with this book. Figure 3.3. The northern ecliptic pole, NEP, is the red dot center point of the northern ecliptic circle, NEC, the yellow circle, revealed through an imagery scribing in space made by the Earth's north-south pole. The northern ecliptic circle suggests that the ancient designer of the Great Serpent had the knowledge of the entire precession period of 25,920 years, including in its design, because the terminus feature of the serpent tailing rests against the north ecliptic point in the model to the right. So I'll show you that picture again. Blurry as it may be, that's fascinating. We'll probably start with that picture next time because I'm going to call it right there. So thank you for hanging out with me. How interesting this reading is. Yeah. Dang, it'd be so cool if I could go there on Saturday. So yeah. Oh, we'll see. Yeah, we'll see what shakes for the rest of the night. And I love yous. I appreciate you, and I wish you wonderful, wonderful rest of your Mondays, or wherever you are, whatever day it is that you find this. And yeah, full moon tomorrow. Woohoo! So yeah, working on some releasing rituals. I love yous. I'll see you so soon. Thank you. Mwah. Thank you.